Could you state your name?
Macon Fry, garden guy.
And how long have you lived in the city of New Orleans?
I've lived in New Orleans since '81, so that would be about 28 years.
Okay. What area of the city do you currently live in?
I live in a small community on the banks of the Mississippi River called the Batture community, Batture, which is in right on the border with Jefferson Parish in uptown New Orleans.
Okay. So it isn't in Orleans Parish?
It's actually in Jefferson Parish. It's right on the parish line.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
I am a horticulturalist, an urban farmer, and sort of an all-purpose garden guy.
Right. And the Parkway Partners is the group you work with.
Exactly. Yeah, my primary employer is Parkway Partners, and in that role, I build and support the community garden system in New Orleans, the biggest community garden system. There's other people building gardens now, but I build the gardens and support gardeners with horticultural advice, and I'm often called upon to speak to groups or individuals that are interested in starting a horticultural endeavor.
What facet of New Orleans is most important to you?
I would say that the most important thing to me now, especially since Katrina, but I actually began my agricultural work in the city before Katrina, but probably the aspect that's most important now is the sense of there being a growing food community and horticultural community, and it's an exciting place to be for people that are interested in urban farming and urban agriculture. Not because it's a huge scene like in the Bay Area in California, Northern California in general, but because it's a nascent scene that really seems to have momentum, and it's bringing people from those other more developed areas. So that, to me, that's really a strong attraction now. I would say that the thing that is most attractive about the city in general, though, and that it is really just the people that are here. It's a southern city. It's a very gracious city, and it's a city where people that perhaps they have racial sensitivities or conflicts, and there may be other conflicts lurking beneath, but people are really gracious and friendly in a southern kind of way, which gives you an opportunity to overcome those differences really quickly when people are willing to sit down and talk to you. Before the storm, a day before the storm, I was building gardens with the New Orleans Food and Farm Network. And we were building 17 backyard gardens in the Holly Grove neighborhood of New Orleans for the New Orleans Food and Farm Network. And I was so wrapped up in that with my fellow workers and the volunteers that had joined in, and we were training the volunteers, that I really scarcely paid any attention to Hurricane Katrina when it entered the Gulf of Mexico. It had hit Florida. We ignored it. We started our garden build, and in one day we put in 17 backyard gardens. And meanwhile, people's families that are volunteering were calling and saying, "You got to get out of town. What are you doing?" You know, and they're like, "We're building gardens," you know. Well, those people evacuated that evening, and then the next day, the hurricane was bearing down on the city. That would have been Saturday we did the build. Sunday the storm is hours away. And so I tied up all the stuff under the house, all my wheelbarrows and tools underneath my camp on the river, and battened down the hatches, and took all the drinking water from the volunteers and threw it in my floor freezer to freeze up for ice. And the next day, the following day, the 17 gardens were under 9 feet of water, 12 feet of water in Holly Grove. So That was our first project for the New Orleans Food and Farm Network, an erstwhile project. We lost those gardens, but that was a really small loss compared to, of course, what the homeowners and the people that lived in those neighborhoods endured. But I think that that was sort of a microcosm, though, for the way that the city's come back, because after the storm, the people that built those gardens, a lot of them came back to the city and sort of joined hands or joined ranks and restarted the Food and Farm Network and have moved that mission forward. So I think that, you know, building together and having that shared loss has helped, you know, helped us move. Well, I think that that people that have been in New Orleans long enough to call themselves natives are already a pretty strong lot, and you know, the city, not to this extent, but the city has experienced floods before, and I think that that those people will keep on, you know, will plug along. I think that the city itself will be stronger because of the efforts of people that are coming in to help rebuild. A number of those people are staying, and there's a new energy and a lot of new ideas and new blood. And you know, I guess I haven't completely given up on my feeling that the politics and bureaucracy and problems that we've seen in City Hall might even turn around as we see new people come into the city.
In your opinion, what is the most important change that needs to happen in New Orleans?
I would say that that bringing new people into city government and into City Hall and into administrative offices, and I think that we need new people because the old way of doing things is not getting it done. After Katrina, millions of tons, I'm sure, of green debris, trees and leaves and vines and all sorts of wood was taken and hauled out to a dump that was a toxic dump in New Orleans East that they had to reopen because they couldn't find any place to put the debris. To me, that would have been a logical time to institute a composting project. I think that when the city begins to think in those ways, the people involved in the city, that you know, will be on the right course. I think that that's what the city needs to do, is to get new ideas, new blood, you know, the same way as we've seen those things happening with the federal government. I think we need it here on the city level.